Hello and welcome to Sky Career Talks, why we display why it's great to learn with us and communicate. I'm your host, David James. Today, I'm super excited to be speaking with Maria Serghiou. Maria graduated with a bachelor's in both communication and digital marketing and a master's in communication and media. Maria found herself in animal health at Merck within the Global Marketing Co-op program. From there, she went to a health marketing agency called Concentric Health Experience, where she worked as a content coordinator working with clients such as Regeneron and Novo Nordisk. In pursuit of finding the right blend of marketing and creativity within her skill sets, she now works at DSM in the development program that is broken up into three sectors: marketing, commercial, and sales, and personal care for North America. We're super excited to connect and speak with Maria today as we trace her journey from pharma to personal care. We now present to you my interview with Maria Serghiou. So thank you for taking the time to be here with us, Maria. Before we begin, I want to ask, how are you today?
Yeah, I'm doing great, David. I'm enjoying the fall weather and I'm really happy to be here as well. I am a Rutgers alumni and I really loved my time at Rutgers and I'm really looking forward to speaking with you.
Same here. I am very excited to, dive into our conversation and, just being able to spotlight you as an alumni and all the work that you're doing, but also your career journey. So, to kick us off, give us a brief overview of your career journey so far.
Yeah, absolutely, David. I graduated from Rutgers with my bachelor's in communications digital marketing in 2018. And then I received my bachelor's also from Rutgers through SCI with a major in communication media. And it was a 5-year sped up program. So that really helped me to kind of get it done quickly. I also actually started at a community college. So I started there, kind of figured out what I wanted to study, and then moved on where I found Rutgers. And from Rutgers as well, I did feel as a senior, I was trying to find my way. So communications, digital marketing, I really enjoyed it, but I didn't know where to start. So kind of like any student, you're nervous, you're applying to a lot of jobs, you're not really sure where you want to work. And I found myself actually in animal health at Merck. So I was a global marketing co-op in ruminants or cattle, and I did that for a year. And actually, I'm very grateful because I had 10 months of in-office experience before the pandemic. So I had that little smidgen of normal corporate experience, the 5-day week, going in, of course, seeing your manager, your team every day, and really having that collaboration. And in that role, I helped to promote vaccine brands for ruminants and connecting with farmers and sales reps on their vaccine challenges and their herd health, which I really didn't picture myself doing, but I learned so much. I had such a great manager and team that really guided me and helping me to learn more about the specifics and, the biology and all of the terms that I maybe wasn't so familiar with. I also got to visit a lot of farms in Pennsylvania. So I kind of went out from the corporate environment and really got to meet real life farmers, which I'd never done before, and really got to see their challenges and, their hard work ethic and what they contribute to the industry. And it really kind of opened my eyes as well. So I learned a lot there. I then went to a pharma marketing agency called Concentric Health Experience. They're located in Manhattan, but at the time I was remote due to the pandemic. So working there, I was a content coordinator where I handled marketing materials of vaccine launches again. So kind of very similar to Merck. Merck was actually one of our clients. We worked with Regeneron, Novo Nordisk, so very pharma related. And it was quite a small agency. I learned a lot there. And I did have really great management and a team, but I was looking for something more marketing based and something a little bit more challenging for me and creative. So I ended up finding DSM where I'm now, and I've been loving it so much. I'm in a development program. And in this development program, it's broken up into 3 sectors of marketing, commercial, and sales. So I really get kind of like the whole gist of everything and how the business units work in the industry. And it's interesting, David, because I have marketing experience, but not so much commercial or sales. So that was very new to me as well. So it was exciting and challenging and of course a little bit scary, which is always good because that's, how you know that you're challenged. So I've been in the program for about a little over a year. It's a 2-year program. And I go through those different sectors of the business unit. And kind of my day to day varies from those three sectors. And I'm just learning a lot about personal care. It's hair, sun, and skin care, which is really exciting. I feel that especially in the pandemic, a lot of people really have picked up like a skincare routine and it's more popular and people are looking for like their creams and serums and their own routine. So it's been really interesting to kind of learn from a phenomenal manager and team as well. It's been such a great experience and kind of just learning about the industry. So overall, David, it's kind of more so pharma to personal care.
Well, I really like hearing that adaptable journey, right? Not expecting to go into one industry, but also, learning all those applicable skills and
Yeah.
just the preparation needed to where you are now. I'm curious, what does a normal day look like for you?
Yeah, absolutely. So currently at DSM, like I mentioned, it's marketing, commercial, and sales. So get a little taste of everything. So in marketing, we work a lot on social media. So a lot of the trade shows and the events that we go to and kind of the interaction with our customers. So we do a lot of social media on LinkedIn and also Instagram. And along with that, just marketing materials and updates of various PowerPoints and marketing materials. And then in commercial, we work on pricing of our ingredients. So especially with the current supply chain of seeing, the volumes and the values and kind of seeing what we are able to provide to the customer and then seeing what we're able to promote through marketing, which has been really interesting given the current supply chain. And along with that, also in sales, which I think for me personally seems to be the most challenging is really having that connection with the customer. So being given like a few customers of my own and providing them with documentation, information, getting on calls with them if they have specific questions and, kind of having that back and forth and learning more about their projects and what they're looking to do. And I definitely think that's been a learning experience through communication and what I learned at Rutgers because, now it's kind of taking that on in this setting and really addressing the needs of the customer and making sure that, as DSM, that we're providing the best experience for them as well. So I am heavily supported by my team in all three sectors just because I am learning throughout the development program. But yeah, a little bit of everything that kind of contributes to the success of the business.
And it's good to learn different skill sets that are sort of outside within our discipline, right? Such as sales, or
Yeah.
perhaps going into pharma and really learning, about the science, but also communicating with farmers and really working with them to communicate their story in a way where the public will understand, right? Do you find
Yeah.
do you find it do you find the value in terms of learning how to synthesize that information and communicating it in a way where the public will be able to be receptive of that information?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's really key, especially in the social media work that we do as well, kind of connecting to the customer. And I feel that it's maybe easy to create certain marketing or materials and, think that, we're providing the information, but it's about kind of being creative as well. And that's what's really fun about being at DSM and kind of seeing for trade shows and working with marketing and seeing how they come across a storyline and the story we would like to tell and what ingredients we're promoting and why, and, how it connects to kind of like a greater story. So instead of just focusing on the selling, also being creative and seeing how you can really connect with the customer.
So I'm curious because on one side, you're focused in market research, but also, really trying to figure out the consumer and the customer's needs, and perhaps research goes into that.
Mhm.
What type of skills are needed that students can start leveraging now to when they start looking for internships or full-time opportunities?
Yeah.
Um, Starting to hone in on those skills, both technical and interpersonal.
Yeah, absolutely. I would say technical, definitely. This might sound very cliche, but Microsoft Word, Excel, PowerPoint, I'll be honest, I definitely need to improve in Excel, but I think it's really important to kind of have those basic skill sets. And then also kind of going back to market research, like you were saying, David, is there's a lot of free platforms as well. And I'm still looking into it and learning myself, but there's Google Analytics and even learning more about social media platforms if you're looking to get more into that. So, how to use Instagram as a business page and how to see those analytics of likes and comments. And there's even the specifics of when's the best time time to post something to reach your consumer or follower and that sort of thing. So there's a lot of really free opportunities, I feel, to kind of learn more about that. And in terms of interpersonal, I would definitely say one of the main ones that I focus on is being a good listener. I find that even though I, went to Rutgers and I have both a bachelor's and master's degree, and I've had a few jobs under my belt, I'm still very early on in my career and I'm still learning a lot. And it's really important to really take in that information and ask the questions. So I find that at any company that I've been at so far, I'm always asking questions and not being afraid to kind of speak up or maybe set up time to learn about how to do a step-by-step process of something, because I personally would rather ask the questions and kind of learn than maybe make myself more nervous or try to figure it out. And I think it's really important to be proactive. So active listening, I think, is key. Along with that, of course, communication and organization. I am a super organized person. I love using Microsoft OneNote. That's another platform that maybe if someone wants to look into, it's a really great way to kind of just create tabs and organize information. And, whether that's writing down notes from meetings, so maybe you won't forget later, especially if you're working with customers or you have something specific going on, or even just notes for yourself, like about the company, or we have a lot of acronyms, so I keep a list of those. So there's a ton of things that you can kind of keep organized. So I would say definitely active listening, communication, and of course, just, learning those platforms if you can, and just being organized.
And it's good to start now as a student. I find that I'm using a lot of Google's platforms, whether it's Google Calendar, Docs to organize all my notes, or even looking into different platforms, right, such as Monday.com or OneNote to really find different methods in how to organize, but also, getting into that routine, right? Because a lot of what we do in communications or branching out into marketing or sales is a lot of project management and being able to track the progress of that project and being able to communicate to stakeholders or internally or externally on the progress of that project. But
Yeah.
I'm also focused because you said two things I really identified with. One is active listening, but two, being also learning from different courses, whether it's free courses such as Google Analytics or any of their certification programs. But going to active listening, I'm really curious about how the importance of active listening, being that being in a communication space, it's so important to being able to listen to your client's needs, but also being able to translate that and being able to communicate that. But I think also from a leadership perspective, it's important because also communicators need to be lifelong learners. I'm curious, kind of bridging the two topics. I know it's a mouthful
Yeah.
of everything I said, but I think it goes
Yeah.
to the theme of lifelong learning. What are
Yeah.
your views in terms of that areas?
Yeah, no, that's a really great question, David. I think personally, what I've learned so far is kind of the tie between active listening and communication. So I find myself on a lot of calls, even currently being in my development program or even my previous roles. And, being that I'm learning and kind of hearing the day to day and just being involved in certain, whether it's marketing, commercial, or sales, what I've learned is just listening is key, taking the notes, seeing how things go. At the same time, communication, if I do have an idea or an opinion, to not be afraid to speak up, but also to not just speak up to speak up, if that makes sense. So to really just take in the information and listen, ask the questions if you have them, throw out an idea if you do, but don't feel like so pressured, like I have to speak in every call. I find that you kind of see the flow of things and how it works. And, you kind of create this pressure in your head of, oh, like I should contribute when you can, if speak up, of course, but if you don't have anything, it's just as okay. And to just listen and take the notes and learn from it.
Absolutely. So, how does one get into this field, or is it through having a portfolio, a website, or going to the whole networking idea of networking, really having a LinkedIn presence and connecting with other people?
Yeah, that's a great question. So, actually, undergrad, I was involved in a lot of internships in the food industry. So, I did a lot of like photography, videography, and that's just something funny to mention as well, because food industry, pharma, personal care. So, kind of all over the place, but it really helped me to be creative and kind of build on marketing. So, I do have like my own website that I created of various things that I've been involved in, and that sort of thing, but also networking, kind of moving from my first role on, I really make sure that I set up the time. So, of course, I know with, the current working status of things, some people are in person, totally remote, hybrid, that sort of thing. And I feel lucky enough that I'm hybrid and I've met my manager and my team and we've had collaboration and meetings and interactions. I think it's really helpful. But for me, kind of having that interaction has been really key. And even so, if I have to network with people that maybe I haven't met with before, I'll set up a Teams meeting or a virtual meeting. And what I've actually been doing, which I really suggest for any undergraduate students getting into, whether it's an internship, if you're at a company like for a few months, or even like your first full-time role, to set up those networking opportunities. So I find myself, which is a really, I think, a good strategy, is kind of just sending a quick message and making it 15 minutes, something really short, but also showing up with questions. So, for example, if you know that you're meeting with someone maybe in marketing, make sure that you come with like a few questions and know their role and, be able to ask them a few things, but also keep it pretty natural and just, be genuine that you really want to learn about their role or their time at the company and if they have any guidance or advice. So I think networking is key. And I know it's something to kind of like add to the list, but when you keep it that short to 15 minutes and you kind of do it over time, you'd be really surprised like how many people you can meet with, throughout that time. And even if, regardless if you're in a current role or maybe you're just searching for a job, so maybe you're on LinkedIn and trying to figure out how to reach out to people and that sort of thing. I definitely myself have messaged a lot of people on LinkedIn during my job search and, just told them about me, or maybe that I'm interested in, speaking further about their company if they have time. And, sometimes you don't get a response at all, which is fine because it's about trying as well. You never know what you'll get back. And then many are really willing to kind of set up the time and you get like 15, 20 minutes maybe on the phone and you get to learn about a company because you took the time to reach out. So it's definitely a little bit of give and take. You get a little bit of some rejection as well, which is totally normal. But taking those chances and really making the time to meet the connections, I think is really important.
And it is important, right? Putting yourself out there and sort of practicing, how to communicate your story, your brand, and sort of doing an elevator pitch to
Mhm.
employers. But also, it isn't just it isn't just transactional. Networking should be building relationships. It should feel natural.
Yeah.
And whereas if it feels transactional, I don't think many are successful in that realm. But really building the relationship and really getting to use that time wisely and getting to know people, I think goes a long way.
Yeah, I agree.
So what would you say is a favorite part of the job or something that motivates or drives or inspires you?
Yeah, so I get excited about it because I work for DSM, which is a company that stands for Do Something Meaningful. And we really put that forward in our mission statement. So I have a really exciting example that I can give you, David. So this past year, we were a proud sponsor of the Skin Cancer Foundation's Destination Healthy Skin RV. So it's essentially a mobile screening and education program where local dermatologists gather for free skin cancer screenings in communities across the US. So we work a lot with sun care. So it's just an opportunity for us to kind of take a step back from selling and to do something meaningful and to really walk the walk of our mission statement. So I visited 6 locations, which was so much fun. And we give out free DSM bags that are filled with sunscreen and informational brochures. And throughout this process, I saw a lot of people come by that would tell us that they're grateful for the free screening, that they don't have insurance, or maybe their insurance doesn't cover free screening. And, they would ask us about the times and like further locations, and they would bring their friends and family. And to really see that service of just having a free skin cancer screening just available in communities across the US to people that, may not have the insurance or the coverage to be able to get a screening, or maybe have been meaning to do it, but just haven't found the time. And I feel that we really did change a lot of lives and a lot of people appreciated it. So that's something really big that we did this year. And I just felt great reward in the work. And myself and many other team members at DSM, we volunteered and visited together. And I just found that it was something that really took us like outside of the box and really made it important to spread awareness about the importance of applying sunscreen and incorporating SPF and sunscreen into your daily makeup and skin routine as well. So I actually will totally admit that before the program, I only associated sunscreen with the summertime, or if I would go to the beach or the pool. That's really the only time I would wear it. And after this entire, screening and experience, and I did get a screening for the first time, and it really opened my eyes to the importance of being screened yearly, and, really taking that action. So I now wear sunscreen every day in my skincare and makeup as well. So that's something just really rewarding that we did this year at DSM, and to be a part of it in my development program was phenomenal. And I'm really grateful to my manager and team for giving me the opportunity. And that's something really rewarding that we did.
Well, that's wonderful, just being able to hear that, because I find I'm also learning, just as you tell that story, I'm like, oh wow, perhaps just hearing that story and hearing how many people have been touched and impacted. And I think that's such a huge part of what drives and inspires us. We're engaging with the community as communicators, but we're also looking to make a difference and an impact in people's lives. And then there's the education component, utilizing our resources to build educational campaigns to really educate the public, especially when there's such an overwhelming amount of information. And I guess on the last note of that, I also probably should look into getting a screening for myself at the same time. Even though I try to stay out of the sun, because it's important. Because as you said, people are getting, especially with skin cancer, being such a huge aspect, and just it is a huge topic, and something that I believe that your organization is helping to build conversations around, which is so important.
Absolutely.
So to end, are there any lasting words of advice or wisdom that you have for students, or perhaps that you wish you knew when you were younger?
Yeah, David, that's a great question. I think it's a really great question to round out here. And just being a part of Sky myself and as a Rutgers alumni, it makes me grateful to be a part of these experiences and to be able to just talk to current undergraduate and graduate students that, might be a little bit confused about what they're studying currently, or, what they're looking to do. So what I would say is that just to remember, it's not a race. It's not a competition, and there's no set timeline, and that's okay. And I really feel that, as an undergraduate or graduate student, that it's very natural to kind of put a pressure on yourself of, I really want to figure out the greatest job, or I want to have, the job that is just for me, like right out of school. And I think it's really important to just remember realistically that you might have friends that, get a job first before you. You might have friends that decide to go back to school, and maybe you'll get a job that makes the most sense for you, maybe like a year after graduating. And again, it kind of just goes back to the timeline. And I think my experience is kind of like a good example of undergrad. I was in the food industry, like interning and doing photography and social media and that sort of thing. And then I found myself in pharma. And then now I found myself in personal care for hair, sun, and skincare. So it's kind of all over the place. But I think what I'm learning, just as a current person that is in their career and very early on as well, that I'm still learning, but I'm trying to just take advantage of the opportunities that are present to me and kind of enjoy the journey. And as cliche as that is, again, I didn't expect myself to have this sort of timeline. But what I've learned is wherever you end up, there is learning opportunity, and you meet people for a reason, I feel like. And in those opportunities, I've just really tried to make the most of it. So animal health with ruminants and cattle, never would have expected, but I learned so much. And it was such a phenomenal company to work for. Going to an agency, which was kind of small and fast paced and more about marketing materials, learned so much from there as well. And now being in personal care. So I find that my mindset is more so enjoying where you are and making the most of it and seeing where it leads you. And I think that's kind of a part of the process as well, because I feel if we knew everything, then it's not what the journey is about, and it's not what life is about or your career. So I think it's really exciting that there are opportunities that will come up that maybe you never expected would. And it's just about making the most of where you are. So I would say, just if you're still looking for work or maybe what to do, look into companies, look into their mission statements, see if you relate, and kind of see what comes up from there. And I think everyone's surprised about the trajectory, and that's kind of a part of the process.
Right, rather than having a very myopic view and sticking to one plan, but being able to be flexible or take that bold leap and really look into something else and figure out new passions, new drivers from what motivates us, and being able to really reflect on all of that, right? Because it's not really about the destination. And I think that's where journey and destination sort of get a bit misconflated, because one is conflated for the other, but it's really about utilizing that journey to really learn from it and sort of have a transformational process within
Yeah,
ourselves, and having that development component as well as learning.
absolutely.
Well, thank you so much for being able to take the time. I've really enjoyed speaking with you as well as learning from you, Maria, and we look forward to connecting with you soon.
Great. Thank you so much, David. I really appreciate you reaching out, and I'm more than happy to contribute to these events through Rutgers since I'm such a proud alumni and I love the school so much. So I really appreciate it. Thank you.
That again was my interview with Maria Serghiou. We look forward to connecting with Maria very soon. Thank you all for joining us for another edition of Sky Career Talks. And be sure to share, like, comment, and subscribe. Also follow our LinkedIn group page, Sky Career Corners, to connect with our brilliant students and alumni. Until next time, I'm Dave James. Take care.